Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I bought something quite interesting. It's not this AA van, I promise. It's this 2012 Mercedes C250 AMG Sport Plus. And I paid just £1,100 for it, so it seems really cheap. And I thought it would be quite an interesting little project. It's got a short MOT, it runs out in 2 days' time. The wheels are a bit of a mess. It looks quite scruffy. It's done 150,000 miles, and I'm not sure about the service history. I don't know what it's going to need. It's going to need, I guess, a full engine service and a gearbox service. I don't know much about it because my colleague took it in part exchange. He called me to say, this Mercedes has just arrived, so here we are. This is as close as I've got to it so far. So what can I tell you then? Well, the wheels are battered. They're completely curbed to death, actually, but the tyre's all right. And about 3mm of tread. You can't see the brand even. Oh, that one's an A+. An A+ tyre. Never heard of it. At the back then, we've got an Aptani. That's on about 4mm of tread. Again, those wheels are crying out to be refurbished. But the bodywork's actually quite tidy. It could do with a good old buff, really. But it's quite a nice colour. I guess it's black, but it's actually a very dark grey. I think with a good polish, it'd clean up quite nicely. This being the AMG Sport Plus, you get a few nice little extras. You get this nice little boot spoiler. You get privacy glass. Looks all right, actually. There's no sunroof, but you can't have it all for £1,100. We've got half leather, half Alcantara interior, AMG mats. What about down this side then? We've got a matching tyre on the front. That's on about 3mm. Bodywork's quite tidy. This being the facelift, of course, you've got these later indicators. It actually looks okay, this. Have we got a matching Aptani? We do, on about 4mm. Brake discs look a bit corroded, but that might be just because it's been sitting, I suppose. For £1,100, I can't really go wrong. Watch it not start now. Right, let's have a look inside then. Well, inside it's actually quite clean. It needs a bit of a valet, but it's all right. It's got part electric seats. The bolster isn't all ripped. Now these don't use full leather. They use this Artico stuff, which is like a faux leather, and it always seems to rip, but that's in decent condition. I'm quite pleased with this. You know, for a bit of a cheap runaround for somebody, this would be all right. In the back, then we've got, again, that's quite tidy, really. After it's had a full valet, this could be all right. We've got a few warning lights on the dash. In fact, let me hop in. So it's telling me to top up screen wash. That's fine. What else? Service B1 overdue by 6,200 miles. It's not great, is it? So it's overdue a full service. Check tyre pressures and then reset. That's another warning light. What have we got then? Have we got the sat-nav? Oh, we've got sat-nav. We've got heated seats. Which is quite a decent thing, really. Got some touch-up paint there. I quite like this era of C-Class, the 204. They're quite reliable. What you've got to watch for, though, is the rear subframes. They often corrode. That tends to be a problem with the pre-facelift models. So it's done 153,999. That's ominous, isn't it? Right, the Becker system on this. Now, this is what powers the sat-nav. Now, on this era of Mercedes, quite often, if you buy a Mercedes that doesn't have the sat-nav, or when you press the nav button, it'll say something like system not active. What does it say? Something like that, system not active or something. You can just go on eBay and buy this Becker Map Pilot thing, and it plugs in the glove compartment. That'll cost you about 100 quid. Then all of a sudden you've got working sat-nav. Look at this. Well, this isn't a good start. My radio's just died. I'm gonna have to take it to my car audio man, aren't I? Anyway, right, let's forget about that. Let's have a look under the bonnet, shall we? Right, I think I've got a dodgy bonnet lever because I've just tried to pull it and nothing's happened. So I think I might have to get this down to my mechanic and let them break into it the old-fashioned way. Well, because I can't get under the bonnet, may as well have a look in the boot. There we go. Right then, let's have a look in the boot, which is disappointingly empty. I was looking forward to finding some goodies or something, but no, nothing at all. Oh, look at the state of that spare. Look at the crack in it. You wouldn't want to rely on that, would you? So we'll replace that, I think, as well. I don't think we'd like to sell it like that. So far then we're up to a full engine service, clean MOT, wheel refurbs, new spare tyre, and a full polish and buff. There is some profit here then, I think, even with that sort of spend. So bear in mind, I paid just £1,100 for it. I think if I could spend maybe, let me give myself a healthy budget on this occasion. If I budget like £900, then it'll owe me £2,000. This could be a £3,000 car. Yeah, there we go, profit. I think what we'll do next then is plug in my OBD reader and see if there are any faults. I always use the Carly OBD scanner. The box is looking a little bit worse for wear now because it's constantly in and out of cars. I've used it for years, but it's a really handy little tool. So all you need to do is plug it into your car's OBD2 port and then go onto the Carly app. Today we're going to use it to diagnose any faults this C-Class might have, but it's got loads more handy features in addition to that. All you need to do then is go to the Carly app, type in the make and the model that you've got. So in this case it is a Mercedes, it is a C-Class from 2012, it's a 204. It's diesel, and then follow the steps. So connect. So plug in the scanner to the OBD port. Done. Turn on your vehicle's engine. Let's do that then. Wait for the little glow plug light. There we go. The unmistakable sound of the old 2.1 litre engine. Make sure that Bluetooth is on. That's fine. And then connect. As well as diagnosing and clearing fault codes, you can also use this to unlock hidden features. So for example, you can make your mirrors fold in if your car's capable of that, you can make the dials do a sweep, and loads of other bits and bobs. While I'm just waiting for this to load up, look at the state of the door. I hadn't even noticed that. I don't know whether that's a common feature with the 204 or not, but the top layer of vinyl's sort of peeled off. I wonder if I could get that retrimmed. Or am I just wasting money on a 150,000 mile car? There's also a minor little rip here on the passenger seat. Not too bad, is it, on a high mileage 13-year-old car, but I do like to try and get things as nice as possible. Okay, so we're all connected and we're ready to start. So let's diagnose any issues then. We'll check for issues. This might take a couple of minutes. It's a really clever system, this. It always amazes me. It always, sadly, comes up with dozens of faults, but that's probably a reflection of some of the cars that I film with. One piece of advice, if you do get loads of faults found, don't panic. Just clear them and then run around in the car for a few more days and then scan it again. Because sometimes they can be historic fault codes, or it could be anything as simple as like a low battery or something. So yeah, don't stress, don't panic. We're all right really so far. My heated seat's getting nice and warm. The ashtray cover there is a bit fierce. Typical Mercedes handbrake though. It's a bit iffy. You've got to sort of help it up with your left foot. And it's done, right, diagnostics completed. Found issues 6, ECUs identified 15. Right, show results. So we've got some amber warnings here. There's an issue with the instrument cluster, the left front door, the right front door, ESP control. Right, but then everything else is checked out okay. So if we clear these issues, then we'll run around in it and see if they come back. Luckily, it hasn't come up with anything major. Sometimes I've had this, well, quite frequently actually, where it'll come up with a red warning for engine or gearbox or something, you know, something really sinister. But on this occasion, I think we're all clear. Famous last words. But yeah, no, I think that's quite good news. So you can even set a reminder, so you can set it to remind me in 3 days and it'll give you an alert to plug it back in and then check it again. So on the main page then we've got diagnostics, maintenance and live data. If you're not great with cars, you can click on the maintenance button there, and then for example, you can keep track of upcoming services. It's a handy tool to use this when you're buying a used car because you can check if the mileage is genuine. So even if the mileage says one figure on the odometer, you can use this to check if it's genuine. Let's do a quick check, see if my 150,000 is accurate. If you'd like to try out Carly for yourself, then click the link below in the video description and use my promo code HIGHPEAK for 15% off. Right, we've had the results then. So Carly detected no tampering, and then we've got the results below. So it's never had a mileage rollback, which is good because 154's quite high already. In terms of service history then, we've got loads of receipts here, which is always a good sign. So we've got some handwritten ones here. Eddie's Mobile Tyres. So it's had a Roadstone fitted. We've got a Roadstone, that's good. What else have we got? Puncture repair, that's that done, very good. So on its last MOT, oh, it's got an outstanding recall actually. It's come from Stranraer, this car. Last MOT it done 133, so it's been quite busy. Done 20,000 miles in the last year. Yeah, we've got a, that's good. Someone spent £395 here on a lower arm offside front and near side front, and a near side front upper arm, plus labour. That's good. This one has done some things to it then, that's good. Receipt there for tyres. Some Mercedes receipts. There is a bit of history here then, isn't there? Which is good. And of course this will have a digital print off as well, so what I might do is take this to SPR. SPR of course are my local Mercedes specialist. We've got a receipt here from a dentist. That's nothing to do with the car, I don't think. I think what I've just spotted here is a print off. We've got a service here, so it had, oh wow, someone spent £1,800 on this car. That was in February 22. So it's had oil, filter, oil, front brake disc, front brake pads, rear brake disc, rear brake pads, MOT, plus 2 new headlamp units and 2 headlamp control units. They were expensive, 1,800 quid. Then it had a clean MOT, so that was all good at 92,000 miles. Then it's sort of gone a bit downhill. Another engine service here. That was done in 2020. Oil leak from gearbox cooler. That's been repaired. That was in 2020 again. Okay. Sorry, I'm probably boring you to tears here, but there is plenty of receipts. Another service in 2017. Right, there's quite a bit of history here then. Yeah, okay. Well, that's good news. Right then, should we take this out for a test drive and see how it performs? Then I think ultimately we're going to end up at my mechanics, where I'm going to leave it and try and get in the bonnet and various other bits. Right then, so my brakes are locked on. They were a bit grindy. Very grunty engine, the old 2.1. Does sound like an old taxi, but they are very reliable. They're capable of doing twice this mileage, so we should be all right. I think once I've run around in this for a little bit and freed off those brakes, shouldn't be too bad. So, just to recap them, I'm going to take this down to my mechanics. Well, ask them for a clean MOT, if it needs anything. We need to sort the blower motor out, get in the bonnet as well. Then I might take it to SPR, who are the Mercedes specialists, and get them to do the engine service and the gearbox service. That way then I know, everything's up to speed. Check my windows. Right, all the windows are fine, so that's good. My heated seats all working. I've only got the one key, but it's not the end of the world, that is it really. Steering feels okay. I've driven dozens of these in my time, and this, so far, feels like any other one of them really. Feels alright. How's my gearbox? I know this 7-speed auto gearbox does need servicing, and I suspect it's probably never had it done. Although there was a bill in there, wasn't there, to say that it had a gearbox leak, so maybe it might have had a service at that time. Who knows? Drives alright though. I know we haven't done more than 8 miles an hour, but so far so good. They're quite nice cars, these. I did a review of one recently, and I said it was like the best sort of sensible car you could buy. We've got a bulb out as well, my indicator's clicking rather fast. Yeah, I said it was one of the best sensible sort of sporty cars you could buy really, which I stand by. They're a little bit dull, I suppose, but finding something sensible yet prestigious is always a bit of a trade-off. There's always going to be something of a compromise, really. This feels all right. I'm quite pleased with it so far. I think if we get the mechanical stuff sorted and the blower motor, then we'll send it for a full valet and a buff, change the reg plates because they're letting it down, then run it over to Prestige Wheels and get the wheels refurbished. Got quite a tidy car. I know you always laugh at it because I always try and keep all these cars for myself rather than sell them on for profit. But I am half tempted to keep this. I think for £1,100 or £2,000 when it's all sorted, hopefully, it could be quite a handy little car to run around in. Right now we've got a 2010 Audi A6 2.7 litre turbo diesel that we all use as a bit of a staff car, a bit of a pool car. But it might be handy to keep this as well. For the money, I know they have a timing chain that's quite reliable usually. The gearboxes are fairly reliable, especially if I service it. It should be a reasonably inexpensive car to keep. I know the road tax is only, I think it's 190 quid a year, so it's not too high. And it'll do 40 miles per gallon. It would make sense to keep, wouldn't it? My hands are freezing. I could do with the heater working. We're going to have to sort out that handbrake as well. That's going to need addressing. And also the bonnet catch. I'm hoping something's just seized. I don't want to spend a fortune on this, especially if I end up keeping it myself. There are a few rattles on the front end. Suspension related, maybe. I mean, it feels quite solid. It's not clunking. Maybe track rod ends, maybe. Yeah, maybe that. We'll see. We'll let my mechanic inspect it, see what they find. I'm just hoping there's no major oil leaks or, turbo issues or anything, but it seems all right. And we haven't got an engine light on, so that's good. If it was turbo related, there'd be an engine light on, wouldn't there? I'm fairly confident I can turn this car around and give it a new lease of life. My mirrors work, they're fine. Oh, they're auto dimming as well, that's quite good. It pulls all right. I don't want to push it too much because it is 6,200 miles overdue a service, but doing 30 miles an hour it seems all right. Kick down's all right. Changes gear smoothly enough. There are quite a few rattles. I always find that with Mercedes interiors. Loads of annoying little rattles everywhere. I suppose when I'm not filming I'd have the radio on, you wouldn't really hear them, I guess. We've got cruise control, that's all right. This might be quite a sensible little pool car to keep, mightn't it? Right, let me get this down to my mechanic then, and I'll have an update for you shortly. Hopefully the next time you see me is when I'm taking it to SPR for a service, with good news, hopefully. I need to get it MOT'd first, because we've only got 2 days remaining. Once the MOT's done, then we're all good. There's what sounds like a bit of a wheel bearing noise as well. There's a bit of a rumble. The rumblings below deck. Yeah, I think we're into a wheel bearing as well. Right, we'll get that sorted. Getting louder. We'll get that sorted then. We'll get the wheel bearing done as well. You know what, my £900 budget at the start, which I thought was quite healthy, is now check tyre pressure's in red. That's not good, is it? Red light means danger, doesn't it, in the words of Billy Ocean? Right, these jokes are getting cornier. Let me take this down to my mechanics and I'll have an update for you shortly. Cheers, guys. And we're back in my cheap Mercedes C250, and I'm afraid I've massively overspent. Do you remember at the start of this video I said, rather naively and foolishly, I gave myself a budget of £900. I paid just £1,100 for this car, so I thought I'll give myself a healthy budget of £900, then it'll all be sorted for £2,000 and I've got a very cheap car. That wasn't the case, sadly. It turns out this car needed an awful lot of work. I think it had just been run into the ground, to be honest. There was loads of deferred maintenance. So after we last spoke, I took it down to Alloy Wheels Manchester for a full set of wheels and tyres. All the alloys were cracked and couldn't be repaired, and all the tyres were bald, so I thought the best thing to do is go and buy a new set of wheels and tyres. So that's done. And I think you'll agree, it does look really good. Now it's got those two-tone wheels, I think it really stands out. This being the AMG Sport Plus model, those two-tone diamond cut wheels were just an option anyway, so it kind of suits it. That of course cost me £650 alone. From there then, I took it down to SPR. Now SPR are my local Mercedes specialist over in Stockport, and they're really good. I left it there for a full engine service and a gearbox service. A few days later Sam called me and said, right, we've done the engine service, done the gearbox service, that's all fine, but the injector seals are leaking, and in addition to that there was something else. I can't remember without pulling up the bill. Some sort of gasket needed to be replaced anyway because something was leaking, so that's been done, which sadly meant that my bill there alone, just for that work, was something like £1,000. So if you're totting this up in your head, we're up to £1,100 for the car, £1,000 at SPR, and then £650 for the wheels and tyres. But we're not done yet. No, we're not out of the woods yet. From there then it went to my other mechanics because it needed an MOT and a few other bits and pieces. Now Sam at SPR is always busy, so I thought rather than have him do all the standard sort of work, I may as well take it back to my normal mechanic that does my everyday stuff and just have them do all the stuff as well. And also it's a little bit cheaper. Things like discs and pads and all that sort of stuff, I can just get done, locally. A few days later, this was ready at my mechanics with a fresh MOT with not a single advisor item, which is great news, isn't it? But what's not so great news was my bill. Now my bill there was £1,083. It needed suspension springs, discs and pads on the front and the back, handbrake, something or other. It needed all sorts of stuff. I'm going to park up somewhere scenic in a second and I'll talk you through my costs and I'll go through exactly what it's had. But it's had an awful lot of work. Then from there, from my mechanics, I took it over to the lads at Dents. That's D3NTS. They do paintless dent removal. Now, if you remember, it had a big sort of horrible sort of gouge in the in the passenger side rear quarter, just near the light lens. They've managed to pop that out quite comprehensively, really. They've done a really good job. That cost me £72, which I'm over the moon with. After that, I fitted some new reg plates, which I ordered from Harrods in Marple. They have lifted the whole car. It looks a whole lot better. Then the last job was to get it cleaned. So I took it to the lads at Tameside Detailing for a full valet, and I've just got it back this morning. And it now looks really good, actually. The wheels, the tyres, now it's all clean. It is quite a nice looking car, but unfortunately, it owes me way too much money. Now, my initial plan with this was to keep it. I thought if I can get this all done for a couple of grand, I've got a very cheap workhorse then. I'll just keep it for a few years at work. If anybody needs to borrow an automatic car, we've got one available, and I'll just use it for my everyday duties. Sadly now, that's not going to happen. It owes me far too much money. I can't really afford to just have another car lying around that owes me, well, thousands and thousands of pounds. So instead, what I'm going to do, now it's in tip-top shape, is sell it. And I photographed it and got it on the website now. I think I can ask 4.5 grand for it, to be honest. I know it's quite high mileage at 154, but it's had everything done. And it drives very well. And it's in pretty good condition, really, for its age and miles. So I think if I can get 4.5 grand back for it, that's probably a better use of my money. Spin the money around and then try and use that 4.5 grand to buy something with some profit in. Because I don't think this one does. I think my profit is sailed away. Let me pull over then in my favourite little lay-by, and I'll get my calculator out and I'll talk you through my costs. Be ready for this though, because it's not pleasant reading. Here we are then. Right, this'll do. Perfect. Right, I paid £1,100 for the car, so we'll get that up there. The bill at my mechanics then, you ready for this? So it's had MOT test fee, coil springs, rear brake shoes, fitting kit, front brake pads, front brake discs, rear brake pads, rear brake discs, wear wires, free off handbrake quadrants, repair offside rear brake disc back plate, repair handbrake lever, offside bottom front suspension arm, and labour. So my total there was £1,083.29. Terrific. My bill at SPR, the Mercedes Specialist, was £1,027.78. The bill for the dent removal was £72. My valet bill was £70. My number plates were £15. The wheels and tyres were £650. I don't know why I bother sometimes. I really don't. This car currently owes me £4,018.09. So just over 4 grand. So if I could get 4.5 back for it, I've got my money back plus a tiny bit of profit, a little dribble of profit. So it's, I'm trying to put a positive spin on this. I'm trying to keep my energy up because I'm full of a cold. It wouldn't be the end of the world, would it? I've saved another car. It would now do as a cheap sort of commuter car, run around car for somebody. Not the end of the world, is it? Not the end of the world. I've been in worse situations. So yeah, my cheap Mercedes that I bought for just £1,100 now owes me about 4 times that. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. And yeah, cheers guys. I'll see you next time.